my name is Emily and I support the Independent Garden Centre team with their marketing and creative services. And today I want to share with you a little trick to help you with collecting those Google reviews. For those of you who watched our last video, you already know the importance of Google reviews when it comes to your local SEO, but even if you haven't, I'm sure you know as a business owner as well as a customer yourself, just how impactful reviews can be. In fact, data suggests that 88% of consumers trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations, with consumers researching and reading a minimum of 10 reviews before feeling confident in making a decision. Therefore, we tend to find that the more customer reviews you have, the more likely it is a purchase will be made. With that in mind, let's dive in. So how do customers leave reviews? First up, if you've never left a Google review yourself before, let's just quickly step through that process together. I'm showing you this just so that you're aware of the steps that the customer has to go through and thereby can see where we might be able to streamline that process for them. Equally too, if they ever happen to be standing in front of you at the counter, unsure but willing, you definitely don't want to waste that opportunity to be able to help guide them through the process. Now, assuming that they're starting completely from scratch, your customer will need to search for your business in Google, find your Google My Business profile, and then click on the Leave a Review button. If they're already logged into their Gmail account, they can then go right ahead and start typing that review. If they're not logged in, they'll be prompted to log in and then can start typing. Now, just so you know, if they do not have a Gmail account, they can still leave a review. It just gets a little bit trickier. They're going to need to click on Create Account and then select Use My Current Email Address instead so they can enter their review without needing to create a Google account. I tell you this more for that person standing in front of you at the counter, as that's really too many steps to communicate efficiently in the digital world. Finding your review link. So first up, we want to make the act of leaving a review for your business as easy as possible for your customer. So we want to skip that whole part where they had to search for you in Google and then find your Google My Business profile. Ideally, we want to send them right here, straight to this button where most of them will probably already have a Gmail account, and especially if they're accessing it from their mobile devices, will likely already be logged in and can go right ahead and leave that review for us. So we want this link, right? But what you've probably noticed is it isn't as simple as just grabbing the link from here. You can't just copy and paste this link. It will not work. So let me show you where you can find the link you need. Now, if you know your Google My Business login, this is going to be really easy for you. You're simply going to log into your Google My Business portal and from the dashboard, go home and look for the Get Your First Review card. Click on Share Review Form. This will bring up your link. Save this aside somewhere just for 1 second. Because if you happen to not remember how to access your Google My Business profile, and I get it, it happens. Sometimes the person that set it up then left the business, the logins got lost somewhere. Well, I do strongly encourage you to try and find those logins because you are going to need them eventually. It doesn't have to ruin your day today. Because if you don't have your logins, there is another way we can create your review link. I want you to head to the following URL. You can either scan the QR code here or type the address in below. Now scroll down to the section entitled Find the ID of a particular place. In this search box, I want you to type in your business address, and when you see it, select it from the drop-down menu. A little pin is going to show up just like so. Now I want you to copy the string of text that comes after the place ID, like this. Next, jump into a Word document or a Notepad file and type the following URL exactly as I have it displayed here. Once you have finished typing this, I want you to paste that place ID directly after the equal sign, like so. To test this is working correctly, I want you to copy the entire string of text here and paste it into your web browser. After a couple of seconds, the review window should pop right up. Okay, great. Now you have your links. But let's take this one step further. Regardless of which method you just went through, you have likely got now a long string of text, which is a little bit cumbersome to type or remember for your customer. Again, we want to make this as simple as possible for them. Then let's start by heading to a site which will shorten that URL for us, such as bit.ly. You can either simply shorten it by pasting in here like so that it's an easier string of text to type out, or alternatively, you could sign up and create your own unique link, something more like this, which is even easier for the customer to remember. So now that you have a shortened link, you have the freedom to use this link however you please. And your link is likely completely fine just as it is now. But I want to show you one more quick trick just in case you'd like to use it. And that is turning that link into a QR code. Now, 2 to 3 years ago, QR codes could be really frustrating. There was a bit of a barrier in using them because the whole education piece needed to happen first. Some people didn't have the right phones, but even more just didn't know how to do it, didn't know what the heck it was, and so on. But thanks to COVID, we were all pretty much forced to figure it out. And the advantage for us in marketing is that not only does everyone recognize them now, but they're all kind of a whiz with using them. So if you wanted to get something printed out for your store, you may prefer to use a QR code for it. To create your QR code, I want you to head to a website like this one. Simply paste in your link here and download. Do a little test to make sure everything is working okay, but voila. Now the image quality of this is suitable for small form print, not big scale print, but for most of us, I think this should tick the box. However, if you did want to put this on, say, a big pull-up banner or something like that, you may need to look at a paid resource for this. Alright, so now we have our short form link and or a QR code, and our world is open to a range of review collecting possibilities. Think of all the fun places you can now use this across both your print and digital materials. You could get a little counter stand printed out and have your staff draw attention to it when a customer makes a purchase. Better yet, you could get little cards printed that your customers could hand out with the receipt, especially when they know the customer has just had a good experience with them. Then in digital land, you can add that link now behind any call to action button in an email or behind a banner image. It could go in the footer of your website or even be sent out via an SMS campaign. This all depends on what data you're collecting. Now, if you wanted to look into ways of automating this kind of process, there are a ton of companies that offer review growth as a service, and some will even link in with your point of sale system. As an example, a couple businesses I know do use one called Podium, so maybe that's something to look into. However, now that you have your review link, really the world is your own oyster. Just think of how you are reaching your customers currently, especially those that have just purchased something with you and ideally had a good experience. Then think of ways you can get that link in front of them. Not everyone is going to leave you a review, but certainly more will when you ask. And unfortunately, if you leave it up to the universe to provide reviews for you, you may find yourself disappointed, as it's often the customers with a bit of an axe to grind that will proactively leave reviews for you. And we want to drown them out with all the goodness that you provide. So that's just a quick little tip to give you guys today to help you on your way with your reviews. We hope it has been helpful. As always, any questions, please send them through. We'd love to help you out. Until then, see you next time.